So you guys, by the time you guys see this, I have already broken Vlogmas because it's day 2 and there's no update, no upload. But at least I'm trying, and that's what matters throughout everything going on. And I have my mom here. I'm laughing, but she's not laughing with me. But I laugh alone, I don't care. Oh, so we're here at the hospital here where my mom lives. We're gonna get her checked out just because, like I said earlier, we were in an accident. So we have to make sure
just to rule out internal bleeding.
Just to rule out like internal bleeding and stuff. But I'll keep you guys posted. In a bit, the doctor or somebody should be in to do whatever they have to do. So I'm here. I'm so happy I brought my laptop. I was planning to edit, but I was like, I didn't record much yet to edit. So we're just gonna watch a little bit Hulu, or I am gonna watch Hulu, and we'll see what happens. Sorry if I look a mess. Today's December 6th, so it's been a few days since I last recorded the last clip. I'm finally back home. I'm gonna go ahead and break down to you guys exactly what happened the night of December 2nd. You guys, I told my family too. I told Yan, he completely understood what I meant. I feel like I manifested this car accident, you guys. My mom picked me up, and here's where the craziness, I feel like it backtracked to. I sat in the back seat with my 6-year-old sister when they picked me up. They picked me up. My 17-year-old sister was sitting in the front with my mom. It was just us girls. And typically, I never sit in the back seat. I always sit in the front with my mom. Even when they pick me up, my sister will go to the back seat with my other little sister and hang out there. This time, I didn't. I didn't sit there. I sat in the back with my sister because she really wanted me to sit with her. And even then, you guys, I sat on the right side, in the back, instead of the left, and the left side is where the car was impacted on. So we're driving, okay? So that's the first crazy thing, is the fact that I sat in the back when I typically don't on the night of the accident. The second thing is, like, I took my camera, I was bringing you guys with me, and I was like, what am I, because I was trying to Vlogmas, so I was gonna upload on December 2nd. I'm like, what if I manifested it somehow, the fact, like, something eventful would happen? I'm not saying like, oh, this is such a big event, and I mean, it's like, I thought it was gonna be a normal afternoon at my family's house, you know, nothing too special. So we're finally up in Alpharetta. So I'm in a different city, like 45 minutes away. So we finally got up to Alpharetta, and we stopped by Dairy Queen to get my sister some food because my parents and I were gonna eat some Mexican food at home that my mom had made, which I was looking forward to all freaking day. When they picked me up, I was starving, looking forward to that. So anyways, we're going down a road to get to my mom's house. We approach a red light. We stop. Thank God, you guys. That is something else. Oh, don't even get me started. I was the one telling my mom where to go for directions and stuff from my house to her house. And I took her a different path. And I had her turn somewhere. Point is, we didn't get lost. I just took her a different route. And after the accident, I started crying because I felt so guilty. First of all, they were picking me up. We got in a car accident after they picked me up. Then I took my mom down a different route, and it's like every choice. But then I'm like you can't help but to think about all the choices you made, and you're like, oh my God, if I didn't do this, though, if I didn't do this, like everything is for a reason, right? So we're at the red light. It turns green. We're going down the road, and a kid, a 17-year-old, he was with his sister. We're coming down the opposite side. So it's like a, what's it called, an intersect. So some people could come this way, that way, you know, whatever. We're going, he's coming, but then he needs to turn to take a right. And as soon as our light turned green, we went, and he was going, and there's supposed to be an arrow. He didn't see the arrow that I was telling him he can go ahead and turn. All he saw was green lights on his end. So what we're thinking, maybe he was like already coming, because he was going at a good enough speed to really impact us. It wasn't a fender bender, you know. So we think he saw the green light from a distance and just kept going, or maybe it was right and turned green. He just still kept going at whatever speed he was going and turning. We think, we're not sure, we don't know. So as we were going straight, he was coming straight as well, but then to turn right. And And it was, this is what's crazy. I was telling my parents, we were talking about it on my family, right? How it was like, it was like in slow motion in that moment. All I remember is looking up because I was in the back seat with my sister. We were on my phone, and me and my sister were recording in the back. We turned off the camera literally in time. As soon as I looked up, because I finally turned off the camera because we were recording each other. As soon as I turned off the camera, bam, we crashed. And my mom was the one driving, like I said. My sister was in the passenger side. I was behind my sister in the back end, and my little 6-year-old sister was in the middle. And like, it was so slow motion. I saw the car. I saw him coming. My mom tried to swerve. That's how slow motion it was. Like, it was quick but slow at the same time. And I comment down below if you guys have ever been in a car accident, if you know what I'm talking about, because it's like, my mom had enough time to react. I remember looking up, seeing the car, and screaming. I remember screaming or like yelling. Like in one moment, they say your life flashes before your eyes. So my life didn't flash. What flashed before my eyes was my mom, because she was the driver. So she was the one that was about to take the impact, because we were going straight. He was coming this way, and she was the driver. And my baby sister, the 6-year-old. And my other sister, I wasn't worried about her only because she was on the opposite end, like me, you know? But in like the split moments that we had, they were the two that crossed my mind. And as soon as we hit, I just remember, I don't know if it was a little bit, like a millisecond before we crashed. I don't know. All I know is I remember I put my arm out to hold my 6-year-old sister back. And I was just like, those instincts naturally kicked in to protect her and hold her back, you know? I put my arm out. And like, next thing you know, all that you see in the gas are the airbags. Sorry, I have my work computers on. All you see in the car are the airbags deployed and gas all out, like inside, smoke, not gas, smoke in the inside of the car. So it was like, it was just so weird. My mom, my siblings, my sister and my mom both told me that all they could hear was me screaming, Hannah, Hannah. And I guess my mom says she will never forget, like, hearing me like screaming, Mom, Hannah, Mom, Hannah. And she was like, she said that she was so frozen, like she felt like she was stuck, but also like kind of like maybe in shock, like what the heck just happened, you know? And so I don't remember that. I told my sister, my mom, I do not remember once. I do not remember screaming at all. All I remember was seeing him coming, putting my arm out for my sister, and that's it. In that moment, like, I don't remember being vocal about anything. I really don't. So I remember my actions just not being vocal. And so we crashed. Luckily, there were some very sweet pedestrians who stopped. You know, there was a lot of cars coming too. Like, it was a good busy time frame. And so a lot of people got out of their cars to make sure we were okay. One lady in particular stayed with us. She was helping us. She was actually with Hannah. So, okay, we were still in the car at this point. Some people were helping get my mom out of her side. And somebody also opened the door in the back seat behind my mom's seat to try to get Hannah. And I remember immediately, like, when I saw somebody trying to grab Hannah, I couldn't see their face. I didn't know who it was. There was airbags in the way. But I was like, no, like, I'm going to grab her. I yanked my sister. I took off her seatbelt. I pulled her out of the car. Not that she was stuck, but I think she was frozen. Like, she was crying her lungs out. She was crying, but kind of like immobile though at the same time. Not because she was injured, but because she was just crying. So I remember I pulled her, and if you've seen my sister, she ain't the littlest thing in the world. I pulled her out, and as soon as I got her out, I kind of just remember like panicking myself, like crying a little bit. And I remember like I couldn't stand up straight, so I was like kind of on the ground squatting in a way. And for those who don't know, I already have one bad knee, and my one good knee ended up getting damaged in the car accident. So I was like, what the I remember I was kneeling down crying because my knee was killing me, and just crying from everything. And my 17-year-old sister started panicking. Like, she was crying so bad, my 17-year-old sister. My mom, I don't think she was crying. I think she was kind of like in the middle of like, what happened? Like, you know, I don't remember seeing her crying. I really don't. Maybe she did cry. I was more focused on my sister, myself, and my other sister, you know? Like, obviously I checked to make sure my mom was good, and she was good. Like, in the sense of she's alive, you know? And long and behold, you guys, we finally saw who hit us. I didn't know them personally, but it was a kid who is a patient of my mom. She works at a pediatrics office. He's 17. And his sister, I don't know how she is, but I think they're around the same age. And I know their mom because she also babysat my 6-year-old sister. So we're like, why coincidentally did it have to be somebody we knew? It wasn't our fault. He was at fault. It was somebody we knew. And he was a 17-year-old, which just made me and my mom feel so bad. Like, because I have a 17-year-old sister, you know? So like, what if it was her in this situation, you know? It was his first car. And here's the irony. They were on their way to church. And we're like, what the? Like, how, God? Like, I just felt so bad. But we're also at the same time, like, everything happens for a reason, you know? And we were just so happy we were all alive, like, more than anything. And maybe they held it in really, really well, but they were not injured at all. So they both were obviously in the front seat. He was driving. She was on the passenger side. Hit the side where my mom is, where I was gonna sit, because, okay, I don't know if I ever mentioned this. Hannah wanted me to sit behind my mom. If you don't know Hannah, if you don't do what she said, she'll start throwing a tantrum. So you're like, okay, whatever. And you'll go do whatever she wants. And so my feet were on her backpack when I sat behind my sister in the passenger side. When I sat behind her in the back seat, my feet were on my little sister's stuff. Luckily, she had just woken up, so surprisingly, she was in a good mood. She didn't throw a tantrum. She said, get off, go to the other side. She's like, can you sit over here? And I said, no, like, I'm already sitting down, please. She's like, okay. And she let me be. If not, I would have been right behind my mom where the impact was, and I would have gotten hit as well. And something else we're so grateful for is my sister was in the middle because all the airbags deployed. My mom had so many airbags. I'll insert a picture somewhere. So that explained a lot of her pain that she got, because she was like, why am I in pain in certain areas? Once we saw photos, it's because there's an airbag here, you know, blocking her. And luckily my sister, my 6-year-old, wasn't on right behind my mom's seat, because there was an airbag and she would have like been hit like pretty much sideways, and who knows, like the injuries she would have sustained on her neck and stuff. And it was just so scary, like, especially when you have such a young child. In general, when it's your friends or family, right? It's very scary. So my injury was my knee. I have a little mark. It never really bruised up really bad, but it still hurts right now. I went to the doctor's today actually to get it checked out. So for those wondering, my mom did end up going to the hospital the next day because she went to the doctors, and the doctor said, hey, go to the hospital to make sure there's no internal bleeding. So we were at the hospital, as you saw in the first clip where I was kind of explaining, hey, we were in an accident. I'm with my mom here at the hospital. They were, first of all, so rude. That was horrible, like horrible. The way they treated my mom, the way they were talking, like they didn't believe her, you know. And we're not suing the insurance company. So we weren't doing it for the money. We're doing it because she's actually worried. She did not sleep that first night. She didn't go to the hospital the first night either. And this is why I'm gonna tell you guys, and I think this is why the hospital didn't believe us. Because since we knew the boy, or I didn't know him personally, my mom knew him, she knew his family, I knew his mom. And once again, he's a 17-year-old boy. We didn't know how much trouble he would potentially get in for causing injury to all of us. My sister's still limping, my 17-year-old, because her knee was also hit on the dashboard. Like, I guess she went forward. She had her seatbelt on. Everybody, we all had our seatbelts on correctly. My mom's, well, I'll tell you guys later. So my 17-year-old sister's knees hurt. One of her knees hurt. My one good knee is injured. My little sister ended up with a lot of bruises on her stomach area and stuff because of the belt, you know, when I guess she was going forward, even though I held her back, I guess part of her body still went forward because she also has bruises in the hip area where the belt goes, you know. My mom also has bruises and a lot of marks on her body as well from the airbags being deployed, from being pushed forward practically. Like, we don't know how we were pushed forward because the car hit us on the side, but somehow I guess we were kind of like all went forward. It was weird. But my knee, yeah, like we all have injuries, and the next day was horrible because we had a lot of body aches. Like, our body was so sore. And we didn't go to the hospital that night. I didn't even want to tell the EMTs what was wrong with me. They didn't examine my knee. I don't know who we told, but my mom ended up when they asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." My mom was like, "Well, actually, she's saying her knee hurts." Luckily, she spoke up for me. And they all saw how much pain my mom was in, but even my mom didn't want to get checked because, like I said, and I didn't know him directly, but my family, my mom knew him and stuff, and my sister knows him because they go to school together. My little sister, the 6-year-old, recognized the sister because she hugged her, you know. So we're like, you know, as a 17-year-old boy, like, what if he gets in so much trouble because we're injured? Like, we didn't want him to be in any trouble. We knew it was an accident. We're not like, you know, you did this to us. No, we knew it was an accident. We felt so bad for him. You know, his first car, he's 17. I remember my first accident. Luckily, it wasn't my fault, but I was maybe his age, maybe a little younger. I was probably 16. And I remember that fear, like that worry, that I remember crying, and he was also very upset too, you know? So we didn't want to say anything. But eventually my mom's pain got really bad the next day. Like throughout the night, she did not sleep at all. Her pain got worse. That's why she ended up having to go to the doctor. She made an appointment to the doctors. And then he directed her to go to the hospital. And then for me, I barely went today, being a Monday, because I was trying to hold it out on my knee. The accident was on Wednesday, December 2nd. Today is Monday, December 6th. And I held it out because I was like, you know what? No, I think I'm fine. Like, I don't want that boy to get in trouble. I don't know if, I think I was thinking maybe he'd somehow have to pay for all of this. You know, I felt really bad. And so I thought maybe, because, okay, that night when my mom mentioned to whoever, I don't know if it was a police officer or one of the EMTs, I wasn't paying attention. They said it might be just bruising because I guess my knee must have hit the armrest, you know, the middle area storage space in the back. It must have hit it. So I thought maybe, you know what, that's it. You know, I'll be fine. I gave it a few days and it still got really bad. It's still really bad to the touch. It hurts to kind of walk. I mean, it hurts to walk or go upstairs and stuff like that. And it's not like it didn't feel like the bone itself. It's more of the outside area. If anything touches it, it hurts. So either way, I went to the doctor today to make sure there's no fluid back up because my mom had touched my knee over the weekend. She's like, okay, this feels very, like there might be fluids in there. She compared it to my other knee. We're like, okay, this has like a squishy point practically. Like touching it's very squishy. It hurts, but it's very squishy. And so she's like, maybe there's fluids in there. Like there's a huge difference between your knees, even looking at them. So I barely went today. My sister knee didn't get better either, so she went Friday to the doctor. So did my 6-year-old sister. Went to the doctor's Friday to make sure she was fine internally because her bruises were getting worse and darker and bigger looking. So my mom was kind of panicked, like, okay, what if, you know? So yeah, fast forward, we're all grateful we're alive. It was very scary. It messed up my Vlogmas because I was like, you know what, my mom still can't talk about it. She starts crying. And I didn't want to talk about it until I knew like I was fine. We were all good, and we are good. We have our bruises, our marks, whatever. Like my neck was hurting, my sister's neck, my mom's neck also, or my whole left body the next day. I'm telling you, the next day of the accident was horrible. I was like, where's all this pain out of nowhere coming from? Like pain in the back, oh, it still hurts. Oh, I just did that and it hurts still. Right there, all right here, my neck was killing me. It stopped all the way up my thigh. Like, I'm sorry, my knee. Yeah, because I remember I felt pain on my thigh too, going towards my buttock cheek on the left. So my knee and above, very bad. It was very bad day too. So now I'm still like very sore to the touch, but not as bad, nowhere near as bad. On my arm and this side, except for the knee, it still hurts. Very tender to the touch. Sorry guys, I know I tend to talk so fast because yeah, it's just all going a million a minute in my mind. And yeah, and actually was all the way in Marietta, which for those who know, we have Marietta and Cumming. It's pretty far from each other. So he got there hi. Look who came to visit, she said hi. So Young got there, he had gotten there very quick. Even my parents were like, oh my gosh, he got to you fast. Still at the accident scene, you know? Because it's very far. So he went to go see me. He didn't stay. I didn't leave with him. I still stayed with my parents because I was supposed to stay anyways for a few nights. But after that accident, like even though he wanted me to go home to be with him, I was like, no, like I didn't want to go home. I was like, look, I'm okay right now. My work, I don't have to do any strenuous work, you know, I'm just on my laptop. So I'm like, I want to be with my family, you know, we just all went through this together. My mom was still upset. She was beaten up. Emily was in pain too. You know, I'm not going to leave them. So I'm glad I stayed because me and my family spent a lot of time together this weekend. And, well, a lot of us were still kind of in pain, so couldn't really go anywhere much. But, and I told Jan too, I had told him when he picked me up yesterday, which was Sunday for my mom's house. He picked me up Sunday, and I told him something I noticed is I still have a little anxiety like in the car because I'm scared that as I'm driving, like somebody just hits me and I'm like, oh my, like it's a fear that stays there, and it shouldn't stay there for long. I've had this before when I got into my first car accident, you know, but still that fear, and it makes you remember again, people are very unpredictable, you know, you can't rely on anybody's driving, you know, so, or depend on anybody's driving. You can't depend on the fact that they're gonna stop at the light, or they're gonna stop at the stop sign, you know. So anxiety is there a little bit, and my little sister, the 6-year-old, won't stop talking about it. Like, Mom, if we crash again, or when we crash again, like she's trying to talk about what she's gonna do different or what's gonna happen, and we're like, Hannah, can you please stop? Like, don't. We're trying to practically tell her, don't speak it into existence, girl. We're not gonna do that again. We're not gonna go through that again. I was playing back my video and I was like, oh my god, my hair is just all up in my face. Sorry, you guys. So anyways, yeah, it's like the saddest thing to hear my little 6-year-old sister like concerned about a car accident again, you know. So like, it was crazy. It was a crazy past few days, but I took advantage and I told my brother, I was like, were you worried about us? Because that butthole never like expresses many emotions. So I'm like, do you love us? Do you love us? Practically, you know. Here we are now. We're dealing with his insurance company. Like I said, we're not suing. I just don't want no harm to the boy either. Like, it was a sad situation all the way around, but it could have been worse. It could have been worse where one of us were really injured, and thank God we are here now, you know. And what sucks, oh, that's right, I just had appendicitis surgery, so my stomach was hurting so much. I forgot I had just had appendicitis surgery 2 weeks ago. Well, now probably 3 weeks ago, but at the moment of the accident, it was 2 weeks ago. I had barely gotten my staples out that Monday of last week, barely. So I was like, ugh, to be involved in this, I was like, it's one thing after another. I was so stressed about work because I was like, you know, I have to go to the doctor. I'm gonna have to miss more time. I just missed a whole week of work practically. And to my surprise, my boss actually, I was off the clock Friday, and he had texted me. He's like, hey Lily, are you busy or are you available or whatever? And it was like 30 minutes after I had already clocked out. So I was like, oh my god, I'm about to be in so much trouble, because I asked to switch shifts today, which is Monday, with a colleague, so that way I can take some time off to go to the doctor. I had forgotten already that I already requested today in particular switch with my colleague because I had to go to another doctor's appointment. So anyway, so he knew about the accident because I forwarded it to another supervisor, so that way she could see like I'm not lying, you know. So I was like, oh, I'm in so much trouble. Like, I was so stressed. And don't get me wrong, my boss isn't like that. The only reason I had that impression is just because it's scary when you're missing so much work, you know. I was so scared, and the call had nothing to do with what I thought it was, like, or it didn't go the direction I thought it was gonna go. And my boss was like, hey Lily, are you okay? Once like he called me, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yes, thank you for asking, I guess you heard about it. He's like, yeah, like, and he told me, he's like, I want you to know, if you ever need any time off or you need to take a few days off, like, it's okay, you can. Like, I don't want you to feel like you have to switch with somebody or swap shifts. Like, you take your time off. He's like, let me know if you just need a few more days or something like that, you know. And he was telling me, he's like, even though you're negative in PTO because y'all for my surgery, I ended up using all of my paid time off. So now I'm negative like a few days to my company because I didn't have enough, and they still paid me. He's like, even though you're negative PTO, take your time off, we'll still pay you, you know. And I even told my husband, I was like, that honestly meant the world to me. And I kind of wanted to cry when he was on the phone with me, and I didn't cry, but it meant the world to know, like, the relief on top of everything, knowing like, okay, he cared enough to take time out of the day. He was probably off the clock now at that point too, you know. to let me know, take as much time as you need. You are okay. You're not going to get in trouble. Yeah, he was just very kind about it. And especially because when I had my appendix surgery, I had two of my co-workers on there. One is a team lead and the other, she was a team lead, but not no more. And they saw it even for my birthday, same thing. And I highly doubt they'll see this video, but if they see it, I mean, I'm not talking shit either. But I was a little upset. I told my husband, I was like, I can't imagine seeing one of them being injured, or even their birthday. I think I told one of them who I had at the time, happy birthday, you know? And I was like, can't imagine seeing them injured or going through all this and not checking out or reaching out, even if it was during working hours, like, hey, I saw, you know, this, da, da. I was like, not one of them checked in on me. I took one of them off Facebook. I took the other one off Facebook because I was like, you know what? Keep a business and that's it, you know? And so to know, like, my boss cared enough to at least reach out to me during the car accident, it meant a lot, because even when I had surgery, I guess he knew about it and he didn't reach out to see if I was okay either. So I was like, oh man, you know? And I was telling my husband too, I was like, that goes to show, like, no matter how much you think that you matter somehow, you never matter in the working environment. You don't, you know? So when they do these type of things where they reach out to you when they don't have to, it's kind of like, oh man, maybe I do matter a little bit, or maybe they care at least, even if it's a little bit, you know? I'm sorry I started Vlogmas off very rocky. I missed a few days in between. Like I said, this weekend after the accident, I wasn't recording. I literally just was spending time with my family, and that was it. Like, I was spending a lot of time with my family, and it sucks so much because no, I loved it, but because now that I'm home, I told my mom yesterday, because we started watching this show. We pulled an all-nighter Friday night. We went to sleep at 9 in the morning. I have not pulled an all-nighter even when I'm with my friends. My friends know me. I am asleep early. We can all be drinking, I'll be knocked out. I'll leave them to fucking do whatever, and I'll knock out. And so I pulled an all-nighter with my mom Friday. And then Saturday, even though we said we weren't gonna do it again, we slept at 3 a.m. because I cut us off, because I was like, okay, tomorrow's Sunday. Sundays for me are very busy. Just know yesterday was not that busy for me. Yesterday was Sunday. I told my husband too, I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I felt dead. Like a zombie, not sad, not happy, like life is passing. Yesterday, and I was like, me and my mom were talking about it, we're like, we messed ourselves up so bad doing that all-nighter. So leaving, coming back home is obviously very sad, because I'm so used to having my family, and then after spending time with them again, it's like, oh man. And I come home and I'm by myself, and I'm like, oh man. Oh man. But yes, I just wanted to fill you guys in. Hopefully I can go back to vlogging soon. I'm doing well otherwise, you know, I'm good. My knee hurts a little bit, but nothing I can't not handle. Thank you guys so much for listening, and who cared enough to see what happened or what was going on or whatever. And until next video, you guys.